Hi, I'm Florencia, and this is how I made a single piece of cake.
Start by measuring 85 grams of all-purpose flour and 25 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder, a pinch of salt, a third of a teaspoon of baking powder, and the same of baking soda. Now add 50 grams of soft light brown sugar and 50 grams of granulated white sugar. Give it a quick mix to remove any big lumps. Next, measure 80 grams of neutral oil, a splash of vanilla extract, 1 large egg, and 55 grams of Greek yogurt. Mix it all together. Now add 55 grams of hot water into the dry ingredients and start mixing slowly, removing any remaining lumps. Start adding the liquid mixture and stir until combined. Don't be tempted to go in two directions. Choose one direction to stir and go that way until completely mixed. Pour the mixture into the prepared baking tray and bake at 160 degrees Celsius or 330 Fahrenheit for about 16 minutes. Now for the buttercream, set a double boiler. Into the bowl goes 2 egg whites and 80 grams of sugar. Heat and mix until the egg whites reaches 62 degrees Celsius or 145 Fahrenheit. You can check if your sugar is dissolved by filling the egg whites and not having any granules left. Beat the egg whites with an electric mixer until you reach almost stiff peaks. Start adding 110 grams of cube butter. If the weather is too hot, you can put the butter just cold from the fridge. But in wintertime, you may want to leave your butter come to room temperature before using. Keep beating until your cream becomes stiffer and shiny, just like buttercream. Then beat on low for a minute to remove big air pockets. You can also stir with a spatula to do this. Take your cake out of the oven and let it rest for 10 minutes before unmolding it into a cooling rack. Let it cool completely. You can speed this up by putting it into the fridge. Now I take a piece of parchment paper that is the same size as the baking tray. I fold it in half 2 times, like so. I then mark with a pencil 3 triangles using the folded lines as the center and cut my triangles with a scissor. I like to level the top of my cake with a serrated knife so I get even layers and my cake isn't wonky. Then I place my triangles on top and I cut 3 slices. At this stage, I like to pick one slice and use it to cut the other 2, so I get the 3 layers as close as possible in size. You'll get 3 slices, but you could make a 4th with the 2 ends. Since I prefer a 3-layered cake instead of 4, I'm going to use the ends as a taster. I also like to trim the back of the slices, since that part is going to be drier than the rest. Now with your buttercream in a piping bag, start piping a border onto your slice. You can fill your cake with just buttercream or, like I'm doing here, with a chocolate ganache that I reheated to melt because I had some left over. I'm also adding some amarena cherries here, but you can build your own flavors. Then place the second slice and repeat the steps like you did before. Be careful not to overfill your center so it doesn't come out. Place your last slice and start covering the back of your cake with buttercream and also the top. Now I get to work with my favorite tool, an offset spatula. You want to smooth your buttercream without touching the cake, or you'll start to drag cake crumbs around. Take your time and scrape any excess buttercream you may have. Then with the tip of your spatula, scrape the top borders of buttercream so you get the knife cut look. I only do this to the outer layer and not to the filling layers because I think it looks more cartoonish and fun. You can even go again into the filling layers and refill with more buttercream to get this effect. At this point, you can finish your piece of cake however you like. I just pipe a border and put a cherry on top, but this would be lovely with a birthday candle too.